Bhavanam Kevalam, 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 Bhavanam, O Kevalam, Bhavanam, Bhavanam Kevalam, Bhavanam, O Kevalam, Bhavanam, Bhavanam Kevalam, 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 Bhavanam Kevalam.
Namaskar. Welcome to all for the program, our fourth module of the Online Graduates Intermediate course. And this will be a very interesting module given by someone who has a lot of experience in helping people with their health issues. I've known Dada Mantrasiddhananda for many, many years. We worked way back then in South America. Dada's first posting back in the early 90s. And we also met up again in South Africa, where we did a lot of detox programs together, and Dada Dharmavedananda used to come also. We would have 10-day wellness yoga detox programs, and Dadaji would also come, and they were always well attended, and those are going to continue again now that the COVID restrictions are easing up. So Dada's been an Acharya for 30 years. He's been involved, he does extensive acupuncture treatment for many, many people for 20 years. And also he has experience in homeopathy with one of our Didis in Nairobi, started a homeopathic school, Didi Ananda Ruchira. So I won't take much more time. Dada has a lot to present, and we have a lot to listen to and ask questions about. You can put those questions in the chat, and we'll get into some very interesting topics related to healing symptoms. Dadaji, please go ahead.
Namaskar, everyone. Thank you, Dada Shilpananji, for the introduction. This fourth session of our OGIC course, this will be something more like more interaction. I will just present the topic because the concept is very simple, the healing symptoms, but it has so many interesting twists because it deals with even with the life of a person. No, I can say yes. How we can really put a very sick person into new life, and which is something miraculous. And this experience of getting people healed from very, very difficult situation, sickness, happens to us many times. So this gives us a lot of motivation. But not all cases are the same. Sometimes we encounter some situation in which the patient becomes desperate because suddenly some unexpected experience or symptoms appear. And if we don't know what are these symptoms, we will lose the chance how to recover the patient. Okay, so I will let me just share the PowerPoint that I made. So, topic, healing symptoms. As I was saying, this is a very simple concept. When the body undergoes any treatment, especially the fasting and detoxing, and any type of treatment that deals with the root cause of the problem, then some reaction happens. No? And this reaction happens because the body will try to release toxins. And sometimes also when it kills a parasite, and when the body doesn't eliminate these toxins as fast as it could, then the person may feel a lot of discomfort, may or may not feel. No? And also sometimes, or when the weak liver is already degrading or becoming more weaker and weaker, then one can feel these symptoms. Okay, and it can last for 1 hour or even more, depending on the level of the patient. And so we put some questions to stimulate our discussion. These questions I suggested to the group, but most of them I don't know the answer. So I will request everyone. We can just exchange experience, because not one person can experience so many things. So each one of us, we encounter different cases, and I just want to stimulate this discussion, and everyone is welcome. Please participate. Just to explain a little bit more, healing symptoms. When the patient starts doing detoxing, means when he stopped eating or detox, I mean when he start going down to that level of food item that he's taking, even though he's not aware that he's doing detoxing, because the body always wants to clear itself of any problem. What is not inside, which is not needed, and what is excess, the body will always try to expel it, because he wants to preserve life and health. But when it becomes too much, the body are not able to do it, and then big alarm or disease happens, and the person are compelled to do different treatments. And one of the things that they do is detoxing or fasting. No? But some other treatment also, alternative treatments, helps in this releasing of the toxins. Like when we do exercise, too much exercise, which is appropriate for the body will start sweating a lot, and it's also a form of detoxing. So one may feel some healing symptoms also when you do exercise. It happens to me also. When I'm doing jogging, lately I started doing a lot of jogging, and I started feeling very funny symptoms. And I remember when I was younger, I was having some problems with my legs, and now they're just suddenly appearing. And doing some research with this topic, and then I found out I don't have to worry. These symptoms happening because it was with me before. Okay. So this is one aspect of healing symptoms. All the unresolved issues, unresolved sickness or problem in the body, they were solved a little bit with the pharmaceutical medicine. So what happened is they just mask the pain. They just suppress it. So when this sickness suppressed, then the person feels better, and then go on again eating whatever food he is eating, non-veg or whatever. And then after some time, another layer of sickness will come, and then it will go on and go on and go on. No? So that's the nature. That's the problem what we are facing. No? So so these are some of the nature of healing symptoms. All the physical, mental, and emotional, we can say, problems or injuries that happen has to be cleared out so that we will get a total health. No? And this happens, when the body is full of toxins, and if you really want to get an optimum health, all those bad things, bad stuff, toxins, all the congestions, all the toxins should come out. So that's the objective of our body, our health. And we have to help our body to achieve this. But then it is very tricky when somebody starts doing detoxing or fasting, and some funny, uncomfortable feelings happen. And we chose some main healing symptoms that we encounter. We will discuss it later on. And first, let me just start with some questions. When we help somebody doing fasting and give the guidelines, and then suddenly the person feels one or two of these healing symptoms. But how are we sure that the person is feeling a healing symptom or an actual disease? I would like to open this up to everyone to help me analyze. So it has been said that healing symptoms, since it's just like a rewind from the past experience of the body which was endured, it is in a diminished form. It is not as intense as the actual disease. But then, how can you differentiate it? For example, we also have our own experience that whenever we do fasting or we do this long juice fasting, we feel very uncomfortable, headache, dehydration, which is really so intense. So how can we differentiate it if someone who has a lot of sickness, obesity, high blood pressure, diabetic, and then you put them into a program, detox program, and suddenly so many diseases or symptoms comes out. So how can we differentiate it? Yeah, so aside from being lesser than the actual disease, the healing symptoms normally happens immediately right after some lowering down of the diet, in our graduating fasting system. If you ask the patient what he had eaten, what he had taken, so if he really follows, or she or he follows the actual instruction, because some people, they will tell you, oh, I ate this, but there are so many other things that they put. For example, they drink Coca-Cola, but they won't tell it. So we have to analyze together with the patient. If that is actual disease, then it is easier to know when we confront or be open with the patient. And the patient has to be really helpful to analyze himself. So this is just my opinion. If any other ideas, because sometimes actual disease is really tricky. We have communicable disease, infectious disease, and we have chronic disease that are more complicated So it depends on the situation of the patients.
So Sister Ajunta has sent a text message,
Yeah.
and there she says she's wondering whether healing symptoms maybe they're temporary, whereas disease is a prolonged chronic condition. That's what she's suggesting, Dada Mantrasiddhananda. Do you like to comment on that?
Okay.
Anyone can comment. I think Diraj wants to say something.
No, sorry, Dadaji, I was having a problem with connection. I just came back on now.
Oh, okay. So you didn't mean to speak. You're just unmuted.
Actually, there was some connection problem, so I connected the battery now.
Oh, okay. But you can mute yourself unless you have something that you want to say.
Oh, okay, Dadaji.
So
Okay.
Arjuna is agreeing, or at least he thinks it's a good point. Does anyone have some other idea? Let me ask the question, a very directly related question. And that is, here Arjuna says, I believe symptoms can also be more intense during detox than in the actual disease. What is the definition of a disease? How would you like to define it?
Well, first of all, I meant chronic disease, right? That's one point. Other than that, yeah, I mean, I guess we're talking about these 41 chronic diseases that Baba talks about in his naturopathy book. Or I don't know how to define it really.
That question I was not only to you, Arjuna, was to everybody. What is the definition of disease?
Well, I would think that one of the major systems of the body are not working correctly, and there's a degenerative condition, allowing the body not to be in full working order.
Dis-ease is a lack of harmony between the body and the mind. It may manifest in any organ, gland, or bodily system.
Okay, very good. So back to the Arjunta's question about the healing symptoms being temporary. I think that is my experience. The gas comes and goes, definitely, doesn't it? And the nausea comes and goes, and skin rashes, they come and go, but they may last a while. But headaches, yeah, if you're lucky, they go fast. Dada Mantra, what do you think?
Perhaps I can say something here, and that is that healing symptoms and the symptoms of disease are in most cases the same. And it is just a question of duration. So if somebody, I'm sorry, there's somebody who's making sound, everybody can mute except when they're speaking. Yeah, that's better. Because you see, when healing symptoms are taking place, there's also an imbalance, which is getting relieved, hopefully, through the expression of the toxins through the skin or bubbling inside the intestines or wherever it is happening. And the greater question is for the therapist, how they can facilitate the detoxing of the body to do its work as quickly and painlessly as possible, as with minimal trouble. So it is only a difference, essentially it's a difference in degree. Plus, healing symptoms are happening from some intentional process that we're doing, some detoxing process that we are intentionally doing. Whereas a disease is happening out of the control or out of the ignorance or out of the mistake of the individual. We can define like that. Are you okay with that, Dada Mantrasiddhananda?
Yeah, thank you, Dadaji, for focusing that idea that actually I also came to that analysis that healing symptoms and actual disease, they are just the same. Because what happened is the body manifests disease, the real disease, because it wants to detoxify. It wants to save himself. The only thing is when we are experiencing healing symptoms, we are doing it in purpose. While, for example, if somebody get a very heavy diarrhea without thinking that he wants to cleanse himself, but it happens because that's the nature of our digestive system, of our organism. It wants to preserve the body. So even the person wants it or not, he has to undergo real deep cleansing through diarrhea. And sometimes it is accompanied with pain and too much discomfort. So it happens also when we are doing detoxing, when the person goes very, very quickly into releasing the toxins, one may experience very intense diarrhea. It's the same, so it's difficult to ascertain. So thank you, Daji, for this point. Okay, let us see the other.
Just one more thing I should say, and that is that
Okay.
if a person is detoxing too quickly, it can, I mean, if it's really too quickly, it can injure the individual. They will, because the symptoms will come out so strongly, and indeed, it can even kill them if it is extreme. So that, yeah. So one of the most important works of the therapist is to facilitate the rapid release of toxins from the body, but not so rapid that it causes trouble or extreme trouble, I should say, to the patient. And this one of the most important skills, it could even be the most important skill of the therapist.
Thank you, Daji, for that. Actually, I had some thoughts because when encountering some senior patients who are non-veg but completely sick, and they really want to become well, but at the same time, their eating habit is just too bad that from many how to say decades they've been eating like that, and when you ask them to do detoxing, they would start feeling bad because of the healing symptoms. So I have this question in my mind, whether I want to share it with you all, and maybe you can help me. Is it really worth doing this detox system to this type of patient when they are having a lesser light, and then you ask them to stop eating meat, fish, and this, and then start feeling a lot of healing symptoms? So what should be done? Should we continue with what they are doing, and or we should try to convince them to stop this habit. And the family, their families also will think that, oh, he is in the last days of his life, and then you are making his life miserable. No? Is it really worth putting him in this program, detox program, when we are expecting some healing symptoms to happen? What do you think?
Sorry, Dada, can you please state your question as simply as you possibly can?
Okay, is it worth helping a person and giving a detox program when this person has been sick all his life, and a senior person means an aged person, maybe more than 60 years old, and of course we expect that he will encounter a lot of healing symptoms, and the change of diet, the change of habit will be very, very difficult for this person. So is it worth working and helping this person to convince him, or just leave it as it is? Okay, to put it more clear, maybe I have a patient who is 72 years old, and he couldn't walk. So he has a problem with his hips, but at the same time, his diet also is consisting of a non-vegetarian, fish and sometimes meat, and he smokes very chain smoker. He's a chain smoker. But I'd like to help him. At the same time, I'm afraid, to talk about changing the diet radically. Of course, I tell him that slowly, putting in his mind that he will be okay if he changes his diet, as much as possible. But at the same time, if he will change his habit, he might get a mental problem, because he's not used into this new thing. So that's my little bit of doubt.
Yeah, I guess it depends on the willingness of the patient to take the treatment, and how much confidence he has in his therapist. And from there, they work together to slowly, affect the change. If he's willing, because as you've mentioned, so many other factors that may, say, discourage his willingness to change.
I'd like to say something. I think as therapists, we always have choices on how, what to prescribe for this patient. And we also have the choice whether we want to even take on this client or not. Because it may be a near impossible task to turn around this person back to health. Maybe we can make some small changes, but how are you going to do it with this client? We have to think about what am I going to do with this guy, right? So we want to be as gentle as possible. Every client is different, I would imagine. And that's the end of my statement there, yeah.
Yeah, thank you for this input. Yes, in fact, I found one naturopathic institute. Before they put the patient into a detox regime, they sit for this person for 5 hours, just how to say, counseling, advising, giving as much information as possible. Well, I can say it is like a brainwashing, which is a positive brainwashing, because information is so important. If one one knowledge is lacking, then it becomes more difficult for the patient to accept. But once we convince him, I think so. Only yes, we have to be also a psychologist, in this aspect. Thank you for the contribution. Let me go to the next question.
If I can just say something very simple about that, and that is that the most crucial thing is that the patient's mind is positive. If the patient's mind is not positive, nothing can be done. It will be counterproductive. If the patient's mind is very positive, then so much can be done.
Dada, do you mean positive about the treatment itself, or positive in general, or both?
No, positive about the treatment, and
Okay.
keen to do it, and while the treatment is going on, if they're thinking that they, the crucial thinking that we're aiming to get in the patient is the thinking that I'm getting better. So if that thinking is there, then everything is there.
So,
Go ahead,
okay.
Dada.
Okay, sorry. Yeah, thank you, Daraji, for that. So we really have to, I think we have to adapt also for these things we are learning. So we can put more time in counseling and advising the patient to really convince regarding the efficacy of our methods. So the next one is regarding using allopathic medicine or the pharmaceutical medicines. Can they help us alleviate the healing symptoms, or should we use them? Anyone?
To make the question a bit more succinct, let's give an example that an individual is detoxing, and as a result, gas is forming, etc. And it's necessary and important that they need to go through that, but they're getting headache, so they may want to take Panadol. What will our position be? To relieve the headache, they may want to do that. That's your question, something like that, Dadaji, right?
Yes, yes, Dadaji. Can we use some Panadol or any other allopathic medicine, or a little bit more stronger, maybe some this for diarrhea, for example, there's some allopathic medicine which stops diarrhea. Because the person is really suffering too much. Shall we use them, or is it okay? What should be our position? As much as possible, Baba said in Yogic Chikiৎসা that the welfare of the patient is more important in any different schools of healing. So when in this moment, when the person is really in too much pain, then we can give half of Panadol instead of that 500 gram. We just cut it in the middle and give it. But anyhow, first we should try according to the nature of the pain that the person is feeling. For example, acupressure. If we press this is becoming more universal. I've seen so many people doing this. When you press this point between the thumb, and it can alleviate very, very drastically the headache or any pain, like pain in the tooth or even stomach pain. So this is kind of a natural analgesic. So this is one of the way. But if this doesn't work, when too much pressure is blocking the veins of the head of this person because of the intense gas that are being formed in his intestine, then too much intense headache will happen. So if we are sure that it is caused by gas, then we have to solve the gas problem. No? How can we deal with gas problem? And then we take it from there. Gas, either position if a male person, he can do, you know, this pabang, or how you call it, speak up. Or for a lady, they can do even massaging the stomach to force, like when the baby is crying too much because of the gas pain, the mother just turn back the baby, and the gas will just come out. So position also can be used, but we have to be sure what's the cause of the pain, the gas pain, or the headache. No? Any other ideas and thoughts?
Arjuna is writing here. Oh no, this is Junta. I believe that it's important to eliminate any chemical medicines in a detox program, as symptoms are possible guidelines to the degree of healing. Will it be better to use natural remedies?
Very, very good point. Very good point. In fact, using allopathic medicine, they already did they're too much damage to the body, and if we still recourse to that, so that's the really ideal option, to use alternative or natural remedies. But sometimes, for example, homeopathy, it takes long time to heal, to get effect, especially when we are dealing with pain. And allopathy becomes more popular because it can just immediately cut the sensation of pain, but then the effect it creates in the long term is devastating, because it changed so many things. Also, Baba said, in our, it is it is quoted in our manual that allopathic medicine, pharmaceutical medicine, disturb the ecological balance of our body. So that's these options of brother that any chemical medicine should be eliminated as much as possible. Any other thoughts?
Namaskar. This is Jivanesh. I would think that we don't want to mask the healing symptom, because we want to see, as someone else mentioned, how intense the healing symptoms are. So what we have, an option, if we don't have any natural treatments to deal with the pain, is we can reduce the fasting. Okay, we can reduce the fasting level. So we go to a weaker graduated leveling so that the healing symptoms won't be so strong. Isn't that also an alternative option?
Yeah, very good point.
That is slowing down the detox because the healing symptoms are too strong. So
yes.
This is going back to the skill of the therapist to adjust the speed of the detox to that which is easily tolerable by the patient. At the same time, there's quite a big difference between a headache and diarrhea, because the diarrhea is directly healing. It is eliminating toxins, whereas a headache is a side effect of toxins being released. So it's quite different. And that's why, if nothing else will work and the patient's head is really splitting, and you give them a small amount of Western medicine at that moment, may be the thing to do. We have to adjust with reality.
Yeah, thank you. That's for the point. Yeah, we will have to depend really on the actual situation, because we wouldn't want the person to start crying out of pain. So because as his body is accustomed to how many decades of medicines, and then suddenly we'll just ask him. Again, it will depend on the individual cases. Thank you, Dada, for that. Yes, any other thoughts?
There's a saying in English, do no harm. So I think that's also important to remember. If the patient is so much disturbed by the entire process, like Dada said, we don't want them to go into negative thinking. So it all goes back to the skill and relationship the therapist has with the patient, and what Dada Mantrasiddhananda referred to earlier, the 5-hour brainwashing maybe needs some reminders in the course of the treatment.
Dadaji, I just want to mention that we only have now we're half of the way through this session. So I'm not sure how you are in terms of your material.
Okay, we can go a little bit faster. So the next question is, how can we educate our students, clients, or patients and guarantee a successful healing process? I think this we already discussed, the term counseling for long hours, and also constant supervision with the patient is really, really important. They should be able to reach you at that critical moment. And when we do this work, then we become a public people. We have become a public person, and we cannot just sometimes say that, oh, I'm busy. But anyway, one of my patient, when she started doing fasting, and she started feeling a lot of headache. And then she told me, she called me and asked permission to break the fast. And then I just asked her, this system is cleansing your body, like the autophagy concept. Then I asked her, I told her that the more pain actually one feels, then the more it affects. And she was willing to really become very well. So she became happy, and she didn't mind the headache at all, and then other symptoms, weakness and bad feelings. So to educate our students, we have to be with them, and like in the beginning I mentioned, we really have to explain so many things to them, different aspects, of the human body, because people are accustomed to that idea, that we need protein, we need meat. Our body will become weak if we don't put nice food. So this is the idea. Yes, Dadaji?
I think people need also to make sure when they're healing that they have a lot of time to rest. Rest is one of the most important healers. So people have to make sure they have time to rest, because that will take away a lot of pain in the process.
Yeah, thank you. So resting is really important. Means the person should have a mindset. We have to put them that they are, like when they are sick, they go to the hospital and they cannot do anything when they are interned in the hospital. So the same thing when they are doing this regime, they have to be in that state in which the body should be also provided all the conditions to heal, and to experience this detoxing reaction. Okay. Next point. Any other ideas? You just also raise your hand. It's open. Just to save time. What are healing symptoms? What are healing symptoms as defined by complementary and alternative medicine? So this CAM or CAM, or complementary and alternative medicine, this is the term which is being used by the traditional system of medicine, the allopathic medicine, that refers to acupuncture, traditional Chinese medicine, homeopathy. So they are characterized as one similar thing, that they go to the root cause of the problem. They deal with the whole body as one. No? The idea that the body is a whole, not part by part like a mechanic thinking used by the allopathic system. So in acupuncture, there are healing reaction that it can be positive when after putting needles, some people they feel so much pain, like they were being beaten or hammered, but after some hours or some time, then they completely forget what was the pain all about, no, the original pain. So this happened. I had one brother in Maputo. He did an acupuncture to one Chinese in Maputo. He asked me if it is okay. Then I just told him, go ahead. And after the treatment, he couldn't walk, too much pain. But later on, he became okay, no? After a few hours. So there are also reactions like that. But sometimes in acupuncture, you can become high, no? Completely different reaction, and it even become addictive. For the natural system, or the naturopathy, the traditional naturopathy society, they call this word as healing crisis. Crisis, as we know, it has like a negative connotation, because person enters in crisis. No, it's something like negative discomfort. About homeopathy, they call it law of cure. As you know, the effect of the medicine has to be similar with the symptoms with what the person is experiencing. So to repel the actual disease, so they create the same disease which is artificial through that medicine, and then it will just repel. So they call it law of cure. And what else? In Meigan, in Japanese traditional medicine, they call it as Meigan, which is a healing reaction. And they said that if there are no healing reaction, the complete cure will not be possible. Okay. Next one. This question: how can we alleviate or manage healing symptoms? We have to define what kind of symptoms we are talking about. So let me just put common healing symptoms and the ways to alleviate them. This list, I got it from our manual. You can find it there too. But I think it will be good if we discuss this one by one. We just already mentioned gas pain. So again, like what Vedanaji said, we have to develop this skill to observe and to find out how these healing symptoms manifest. Gas pain, of course, we know so much acidity and all this toxic effect. Here we have different items: hot and cold compress. If you have experience with the gas pain and did hot and cold compress, this has really wonderful effect. Very like really miraculous, I can say. And then there is this Gasek. I think this is from our Ayurveda, our microvita medicine, Gasek, produced by.
No, it is a Himalaya. Oh? It's an Ayurvedic medicine from the company called Himalaya, the most popular medicine brand in India, Himalaya.
But I think, Dadaji, we have a version of that. The microvita medicine have also a similar medicine for gas.
I don't know.
And then for acupressure, I put large intestine number 4, which is already I mentioned, like this, and large intestine 11. You can either use your knuckles, like this, And this one, you can use the bent finger. You just make a circular move, and it will help you to release the gases. And then the positions of the body, you bend and do a pick-up. Then we have hip bot. I think everyone had experience with hip bot. And enema, colema, they are really wonderful. It clears so many things in the body. And then as we know, we have to take some probiotics after the enema and colema. Any other ideas?
If I can say that whenever any of you like to, because many of you are not expressing, however, a wrong answer is better than no answer. So you should feel very free to express. Rather, if you feel slightly nervous to express, it's okay. You go ahead. We will all learn in the process. Go ahead, Dada.
Thank you, Dada. What about psyllium husk added to the treatment? Was that helps with gas?
What can you say?
Psyllium husk, in your experience, does that help alleviate gas pain? Psyllium husk.
Not quickly.
Okay.
It takes quite some hours before it's going to work. However, we're using natural laxatives like Triphala or Haritaki, Myrobalan. But psyllium husk powder, it can also, if the person is having very regular and good bowel movements, then the likelihood of healing symptoms, disturbing healing symptoms, is definitely decreased. So it's not that we use it as a sudden way, but rather it is used continually as the detoxing is happening. Yeah, and Ajunta's mentioning, what about fresh ginger tonics? These are simple ways that you can. These are techniques that can be used. Which is more effective, which is less effective. But of these, the hot and cold compress is very powerful, as is enema and colema.
Yeah, we are dealing with the intense or acute situation, so we need the options that can give almost immediate result. So psyllium husk can be used after some time, but for immediate relief, we can do the options that the Dharmaji mentioned. Okay. The next point. What are the reasons or factors why there is a possibility of multiple expressions of healing symptoms?
You mean,
as we know,
can you give some example?
not everyone will different one will have headache or gas pain or skin problem, so much itchiness, pain in one part of the muscle, or even sore throat.
Is it because of constitution? Everybody's body's a little different. Maybe a certain dosha is out of balance.
Yes, it's one of the factors. And then the diet, those who are eating high protein meals, and then those who are having a lot of carbohydrates, and some genetics also could be there. and then the habit, eating habit. So there are so many factors. So we have to ascertain what is the level of the patient before we give a program for the patient. So these are the factors, no? Like those who are living in USA, their food they get from the supermarkets completely not good, no? But those from Asia, it's a little bit more access, no, to natural agricultural products. So these are some of the factors. Any other ideas? Welcome. Okay, we go ahead. So we discussed some of the points already that touches this question. When all recommendation to deal with healing symptoms fails to alleviate a patient, what else can be done? So we already mentioned or reduce the level of the graduated fasting, and we have to deal with the healing symptoms very skillfully. But when all this recommendation fails, what else can be done?
More rest, more water.
Okay, very good.
But in some cases, it can be the opposite. In some cases, it can be that the patient is getting too much time to think about his problems and needs some distraction in terms of, comic videos or some good discussion, or take a walk and have a nice talk, and take a bath, whatever, is going to relieve their mind, because this is one of the most common causes of disturbance that people feel during detoxing. They're getting too much time to think about how they're feeling.
Yeah, I remember in the wellness center, we have so many things to do. We play, we go for swimming, we go for outing. So very good point, Dadaji, because actually we really have to convince the patient to undergo all this bad experience of healing symptoms to be able to get past to it. But if we just stop, yeah, very good point, Sister Anwari. Asana as an exercise. Actually, there is one question I put here regarding the cause of one of the main cause, or some of the causes, or some healing symptoms which are related to emotions, and it sometimes it flares up, no? But that question was not included anyhow. So because when these healing symptoms started appearing in homeopathy, they describe it like a flower, lotus flower. When one symptom or group of symptoms appear, and then they will be suppressed. So when another disease comes, then again the body will just cover it again, because of the suppression caused by the allopathic medicine, which every one of us already have taken, mostly. Okay, and then another layer, another layer, another layer. So all these petals, different petals, should be removed one by one. So that's one of the system in homeopathy. You have to really analyze what is the outward, the outer his symptoms to be taken out, and then another group of symptoms will come out, and you have to deal with that. So same with the natural healing or detoxing. There are so many emotions, for example, that will come up, some flare ups. Somebody started doing for 1 month raw food, and then 10 days water, and suddenly this man becomes very vile, become very mean to the dog. to the relationship with the family members become very, very bad. So it happens because it is cleansing, it is coming out, no? So we have to convince the person, no, that these are just manifestation, expressions of healing, and it is a process. So to deal with that, we have to, how to say, distract the person, no? Like what Dada Dharma Devananda ji said. Thank you, Dadaji. Next one. Can intense healing symptoms like skin eruptions and or coughing with chest pain pose possible danger to the patient?
I wouldn't say skin eruptions are so dangerous because the skin is the outermost organ of the body. But when we're talking about chest pain, that's a little bit maybe more serious in terms of because you're dealing with an organ, something internal. So, yeah.
Thank you, Dadaji. Actually, I put this question just to raise more, how to say, to stimulate the discussion or thinking, because it really can happen that while doing the fasting, one of the patient can experience this very, very intense pain. And especially when we are dealing with the chest or difficulty in breathing. In our manual, it is written there that when there is difficulty in breathing, definitely we have to take the patient to hospital. So it is another complicated issue, but because if we hand over our patient who are doing a treatment with us to the hospital, it is too risky, because they will give a very strong medicine and you never know what will happen, no? Because allopathic medicine is really they did this to us, no? And we are just trying to save our health, and then in the end we go back again to them to us. But anyway, I leave it to you to think about it a little bit more.
Well, can I say that skin eruptions, they can cause bacterial infection, because the air, if it's not clean and there's virus around, then it may go into your body. That may be a danger, like, I don't know, you may contract monkeypox or something if there's skin eruptions, like pus coming out, right?
Yes.
I think it is less concern. It means to say that if there's a rash, which it is one thing, if there is some rash which is coming, but it's another thing if the skin starts oozing pus. That is a bit extreme to have as a healing symptom. I mean, normally it only goes so far as rashes. When it's going that far that pus is coming, then we've gone too far.
Yeah, it could be
that's too fast.
Yeah, it could be that the patient is undergoing a very deep healing process. So it can happen because in traditional Chinese medicine, when the skin starts showing up some problem, and when someone drink some medicine, pharmaceutical medicine, they stop this eruption. Means it is being suppressed. And what will happen? It will go inside and it will come to the lungs. And then the person will again have some problems with cough, with the asthma, and will have this chest pain. So skin and lungs, they are related. As we explained that in our natural system, naturopathy, that both are organs of cleansing. You know, when we breathe, we exhale carbon dioxide, and we release so many toxins. And our skin, when the kidneys cannot function properly, the skin, the sweating really helps the kidney a lot. So when there is problem with the skin, these skin eruptions, we, as much as possible, we just let it go, let it happen. Otherwise, it will go inside, and this chest pain will be another consequences. I am thinking out loud. Sorry. So next one, let me just go back to this. Healing, alleviating the healing symptoms. Sister Anwari mentioned about asanas. In one of my thought process while thinking about this presentation, one of the cause of toxins or poison in the body is through thinking, through the mind, and through stress. Stress can be when one is too much angry and cannot shout. For example, when one is angry with the wife or husband but cannot shout, or the boss is there, cannot express that this upset, and it just go inside and attack the organ. You know, anger is for, I think, the liver, and fear for the kidney. So they are stuck. You know, they are stored there. And suddenly when we are doing detoxing, these emotions will come out, and we don't know from where they are coming from, but they are from the previous experience, which are stored or suppressed. Now they will find a expression for that, so they will all come out. So in our biopsychology, Baba said that many diseases can be treated by correcting the glands, the endocrine glands. And the endocrine gland, as you know, in biopsychology, different emotions, they are embedded in different chakras, no, which are connected to different endocrine glands. So when we do asanas, it's a par excellence system to treat the sickness of the person. So in our training, in our wellness center, we are obliged to do 2 times a day asanas. We put the patient to do 2 times a day asanas, and that is really wonderful. And we don't know that the healing symptoms can be alleviated so much with just doing asanas. Okay, I think that's it. Any yes, Dadaji?
I think just to add more about asana, the self-massage and the deep relaxation put the patient into such a state of comfort. Remember, the word for asana is that posture which brings physical comfort, composure to the body, and comfort to the mind. So in that entire process of healing, asana, self-massage, deep relaxation, extremely helpful.
Thank you, Daji. I would like to add to that. Now I'm preparing to make a video regarding breathing, and I am discovering some interesting facts that Wim Hof, one European brother who can walk in the ice without shirt, and he can stay for long hours without drinking, and he does it through breathing and willpower of the mind. And this actually, as a yogi, we can easily experience. I just made a very small experience, and it really works. I didn't go deeper yet into the process, but I feel it's too much interesting and too powerful. And Baba had given us different sets of asanas for different types of disease. Sometimes we don't feel the effect immediately, but our asanas from which Baba gave us, they are very, very powerful. And we have to, I think, we have to discover it more. We have to utilize it more and use it to the people. Because when the emotions, they are expressed, there will be a lot of relief, no? The lymphatic glands will start working properly, and many toxins will come out. The blood system, the breathing. So all these things will help us. Okay. Any other points before we? I think I covered all the items, Dadaji. Any other considerations or conclusion?
Have you covered your entire presentation now, Dadaji? You've completed, or you have
all
more?
all the questions are answered.
So,
okay, sorry. There are healing symptoms. Next one, sorry, not yet. Mucus.
so your question is what to do about that mucus starts running? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, Dadaji. Like runny nose or sinusitis or phlegm. So in general, the mucus. Like when we overstimulate our digestive system, the body has the natural tendency to excrete a lot of mucus, and sometimes this unnatural secretion, like what is written in the manual, can cause us a lot of problems because it can form into a mucoid plaque, for example. I don't know if this is what this is related with the mucus problem.
That's quite a different matter. So
okay.
I think what you're talking about is that during the detox, a person's nose will start running tremendously. Is that what you're saying?
I think so.
And
yes.
You're asking what can be done to
yeah.
allow that
Here,
more alleviated.
Alleviate, yes. So here we have hot foot bath, warm orange juice, sun bath, salt water solution, using steam, doing steam using salt water solution.
Dadaji, is that in your PowerPoint? Because right now nothing is on the screen.
Oh, sorry. Okay, let me just, I thought it is being shared. Yeah. Can see it?
Yes.
Okay. So mucus, hot foot bath, warm orange juice. This can be lemon water also, using a warm water with the lemon juice. And then sun bath, steam inhalation using salt water solution.
Okay.
Okay. So I found in the one of the research that salt salt, which is ionized, can really solve many sinus problems. So there are many machines that can do that, but I think steam inhalation using salt water, some ions should be there, some still small particles should still remain, and one can have a lot of benefit inhaling it. And then we have this oregano or nirgundi tea. In general, the herbal teas, they have powerful effects, and that we also have to take into consideration in dealing with healing symptoms. There are many naturopaths that uses wide range of herbal medicine for different hot foot bath with Epsom salt that can induce very nice relaxation. Hot foot bath is like a natural fever, so we give warmth to the body, and one can experience extreme relief after doing hot foot bath when one is having this flu symptoms and mucus. Thank you, Sister Anwari. Any other idea? We can jump to the next one.
Wait, I want to comment on that. Normally, during a detox, if the patient starts releasing a lot of mucus, I personally would prefer not to slow it down. Give them, tissue paper, whatever, and because so much junk is coming out at that moment. It is not so much trouble. There's just a lot of mucus, like if a person has a cold and they keep blowing the nose and so much is coming out. With every time that the mucus comes, there's more and more toxin leaving their body. Only thing is that they shouldn't be blowing their nose too hard. I mean, just be careful. And it's a good process which is taking place there. No need to relieve it.
Oh, can you tell me how to do the sun bath?
There will be a separate module. Dada Sheila Badrinath? Isn't there a separate module about
Yeah.
physiotherapy?
Treatments. Yeah. Treatments. Yes.
Oh,
The
okay.
next
Thank
one.
you.
The next one. Yeah.
Thank you.
If you have the book Yogic Natural Remedies, it's there in the appendix. Very, very brief. It's about 2 short paragraphs, but very instructive. Extremely simple.
Thank you.
Then we have nausea. So we have here ginger tea, very, very effective for nausea. Gasek, again, an Ayurvedic medicine. And then sucking ice chips. This I don't have experience yet, but maybe anyone who have experience.
I have experience with the ice chips. Highly, highly effective. We had Dada Mantrasiddhananda will remember Sister Serena in South Africa suffered extreme reaction from her first time doing detox because she was a 9-cup of coffee day drinker. And the thing that helped her most was sucking the ice chips. So it's really, really effective for nausea.
Thank you, Dada. Any other idea for nausea? Deep breathing, I experience, it reduces a little bit, not too much, but it helps me a lot. When I'm coming here to Beira just recently, on the bus, I started feeling nauseous, and I remember Whip Ho, and I did his breathing exercise, and it was really wonderful. That's why I'm a little bit, how to say, happy, that I have another points to research. That will come next time. Okay, next one is headache. We discussed this earlier, but I think we can go a little bit more in detail. As Dada Dharma Ji said, headache is another complicated or more complex issue to handle, unlike diarrhea, because headache can be caused by many different things, many different factors. So it's really important that we sit down with the patient and analyze what is the main cause of his headache. So we have cold pack, heat bath, ginger tea enema or kolema. Nirgundi, I don't know actually what is nirgundi, but anyway, it's one of the nice herb. You crush the leaves and apply to forehead. And then mud on yes?
Nirgundi is growing in Cebu, so that's why this is idea that comes from Sister Chitamani.
Is it same with oregano, Dadaji?
No.
No, okay. And then you have a mud on forehead if it is due to sinusitis. Steam inhalation if due to nose congestion. Yeah, so this is the idea. Find the root cause and then deal with it directly to reduce the pressure of blood in the veins, in the brain. Any other?
Excuse me,
Water
Dada Mantra.
Yes.
Let me ask everybody, what would be the most common, maybe the top 3 reasons why someone is having a headache during a detox? What are the most 3 popular reasons?
Anyone wants to reply? I'll give one. I think dehydration. And gas pain. And then what else? Fever also, or pressure, high blood pressure. Any other ideas? Any other reason?
For those that drink coffee, if you don't have coffee, it tends to give you a headache.
Yes. Yeah, very good point. Or any other stimulants, tea, or maybe the patient is smoking or drinking or any other substance. In different places, in different countries, there are many different, even food that are highly stimulants. And it can cause same problem, no? And it is related to like addiction. So what do you think, Dada Dharma Vedanji?
Yeah, it's correct. If a person is getting withdrawal symptoms from addiction, then it can easily manifest as headache. That's the reason why coffee does that. But the thing is that coffee is not a difficult addiction to give up. It's much, much easier than so many other things. So if the person is having too severe headache and so on, who is only because of the coffee, we may give them a few spoons of coffee to drink. Just not make such a big deal about it. They'll overcome their coffee addiction within 3 or 4 days, 5 days at the most.
Can they do coffee enema at least for this?
I never considered whether that would help to relieve their coffee headache. I think I don't know. I don't know about that.
Okay. Just to make the interesting.
Coffee enema
Okay.
I don't have any objection to coffee enema. It's very different than drinking coffee.
Experience with coffee is it's one of the most powerful intoxicants a human being can take. And it came to light in 2 fasting camps in South Africa. Sister Sharina and another yoga teacher in the Port Shepstone area. Extreme headache because too much drinking coffee.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Daraji. So we go to I think the last, next one is fever.
Yeah, we're almost out of time.
Okay, so hot foot bath, wet towel on the head, water drinking, hot herbal teas, natural fruit juices. It has been said that fever is one way the body used to kill the bacteria. So when we put our feet in the warm water, So we are reinforcing this body's natural mechanism, but we just have to be careful that the head doesn't overheat. That's why we put the wet towel on the head.
Sorry, this is only a hot foot bath is not appropriate for somebody who has a high fever. It is for those who have a cold fever. They're feeling chills. And yeah,
So what can be done in that case?
you can give them a cold bath. Yeah.
Cold.
If they have a high fever, you can give them hip bath, a cool hip bath.
Okay.
So I have one question about fever. What are the reasons why someone gets fever? Their body is working hard to get rid of something. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Secondary infection, or yeah.
There's
Yes, I agree.
inflammation is there. So
Okay.
Okay. Thank you. And I remember in one of the hospitals.
Fever is
Sorry,
coming.
go ahead.
Normally, if the fevers are coming and going briefly, we don't need to be too much concerned about it. It's only an extended fever that we will need to deal with.
Okay, thank you. There's a one chat.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I think so. Correct. It is a sign that the immune system is working. Yeah, it's in action. Thank you. I remember in one hospital, one patient came suddenly. I mean, in allopathic hospital here in Mozambique, one lady came with very high fever and she was having malaria. So immediately the nurse took a cold water with some ice on it, and she just poured it to her. So this is a very good example what Dada G said. Any other point, Dada? Sorry, I interrupted you.
No, it's okay.
Okay, we go to the last one. Oops. Rashes. Sunbath. What do we mean by rashes, Dadaji? Simple skin rashes?
Yeah, red blotches on the skin.
Okay. So here we have sunbath, aloe vera with neem or virgin coconut oil, neem water rinse after bath or mud bath. Then we have mud pack, aloe vera alone, then coconut oil alone. I have experience with coconut oil, really very fantastic to use with skin rashes. We gave it to one baby who was having rashes and it just disappeared. Anyone have experience?
In most cases, the sun bath is the most effective.
Okay. So that's it on my part. Any other conclusion, consideration, questions from anyone?
This subject is of tremendous importance when you're actually dealing with cases, and it's always a source of much interest.
So I think that's the end of the line for today. And I wish well to everyone. Thank you very much. Dada Shilabhadanaji, you opened the meeting, so I think you should close.
Dada Dharmavedananji's permission, I'd like to give thanks to Dada Mantrasiddhananda for excellent preparation and slideshow, stimulating questions. As Dada Dharmavedananda said, extremely important topic also, that we have to know well the answers to many of these questions. because they will be very, very much part of helping people to make themselves better. So once again, to all that have come today, thank you for your participation. And I hope that you'll be able to continue with all of these, the rest of the modules, and be more active in our community, which Dada Dhammavirananji and his core team are trying to grow into something bigger and more effective for all people of the world. Namaskar.
What I will do is, at some point, I will list all of the possible teams that you can join in our chat. I hope that some few of you will become more active in that. We have several of you who are present or who are not present who will be accessing this through video, who have been offering to participate, and we will activate these teams to a greater extent after a little bit of time needs to go by while we're doing other work. Thank you very much. Enjoyable program. I think everyone got something meaningful from the session. I just want to add one very last point about Dada Mantrasiddhananda. He's full of humility, but the reality is that when he deals with a lot of patients, and he's very heart to heart with them, and gets them to understand at the same time that he's working on the cases, and one way or another, in each and every case, he solves the issues. So that's the way these things go. To work practically, and then solution comes through deep love and compassion and effort to find the solution in each and every case. Arjuna wants to say something, or that's just applauding. Yeah, I think so. All right. Thank you so very much, Dadaji, and for the participation of everyone.
Final Kirtan.
Bhavanam Kevalam, 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 Bhavanam Kevalam.
So, namaskar. But just before you leave, I should mention that supposedly our next session will be on September 3, Saturday, September 3. But I will be traveling in that moment. I'll be in the air. So I'm going to be requesting, and we'll be announcing also in our chat and by email, that the session will be delayed until the following Saturday, i.e. September 10th. Yeah, and we'll follow up on this again. Thank you very much. Have a very good rest of your evening or day. Namaskar.
Namaskar.
Thank you, Dadaji.
Thank you. Namaskar.